Hi, it's Danielle from VA Lifestyle Design. Recording this video today for you if you're a digital nomad considering a trip to Kuala Lumpur, or if you're an aspiring digital nomad or location independent. A few things that I've kind of been quite excited about this week when we've just kind of landed here in Kuala Lumpur. So we got here probably about 5 days ago, and we have been staying in Bali, and we'll go back to Bali at some stage. And usually, like the last few trips we've made to Kuala Lumpur have purely been for visa runs. So just for a few nights, or one of the trips I think was even 2 nights. Kind of not really getting out and about in the city too much, kind of just staying in an Airbnb, going to the shops and kind of taking the kids to the movies and then heading back to Bali. This time what we thought we'd do, it's the height of the busy season in Bali, where there's a lot of influx of tourism from Australia, and we thought, okay, why not spend a little bit more time in Malaysia this time? So we're here in Kuala Lumpur for about a month, maybe longer. I actually just found out that we actually have the ability to stay 90 days visa-free in Kuala Lumpur, which I hadn't even put any thought to or any research to prior to this. My husband Dad did know about it apparently, but that's kind of exciting when we've been used to the 30-day visa extensions in Bali because of the type of visa we're on there. Anyway, getting sidetracked here. The 3 things that I wanted to let you know about: finding a workspace in Kuala Lumpur, relevant if you're actually visiting here, or even just as inspiration for digging into places you can work locally or in your home country, and how you can go about getting free passes to co-working spaces to check them out and investigate. And also something that I was inspired by, where there's other types of remote and flexible work opportunities beyond freelancing and virtual assistants and online marketing support and the things you'll usually hear me talking about. So let's look at the first one. I'm on the screen here, or on the screen here is the website of an awesome cafe here in Kuala Lumpur called VCR. Now, what happened is we arrived in our Airbnb apartment, and prior, all the apartments we'd stayed in, we'd had Ethernet internet connections. We'd never had an issue with internet. Here, we just had wireless, and it's not a great connection. I'm in the apartment at the moment, actually. And so when I realized that the speed wasn't going to be up to scratch for actually getting work done, I hopped on Google looking for either a cafe or a co-working space to head to the next day. That was earlier this week when I first did some investigation. And I found this VCR cafe. Now, I wanted to share with you just the background research process to how I went about that. So basically, I came to Google and I typed in Kuala Lumpur Digital Nomad Cafe. Now, of course, if you're already on the road working location independently, this is old news. But I've found that, if you're just getting started and you're starting to get your career set up and you're wondering how all this works, it wouldn't be completely obvious that, anywhere you go, it's just at the tip of your fingers to get any resource you need, because other digital nomads have already documented their experiences, and they're so easy to find. So that's kind of why I wanted to show you this little kind of research process. So I just typed in Kuala Lumpur Digital Nomad Cafe, and then I scanned my eye down the results, and I saw this result that said Chris the Freelancer, 10 days as a digital nomad in Kuala Lumpur, full report. And I looked at the date, it said December 2016. Okay, that's fairly recently. And also I had heard of, I don't know Chris personally, but I know his online brand, and I believe I'd seen his videos on YouTube. I think I follow him on Instagram. His face and his name was familiar to me, and I had some reference that the things he creates online are of a high quality standard. So I thought, I'm going to trust this guy's research. He probably knows his stuff about where to work in Kuala Lumpur and what the go is. So that was the first result I clicked through to, and I'll show you that blog post. So I'll just turn that notification off. So this is the blog post. That's Chris and his girlfriend. And I scrolled down, and what I saw was he had a video there. I actually haven't watched that one yet. But then I saw that he had listed all of the places that he tried out working. And you can see that shot of them working there. So this is the VCR cafe recommendation. And I read through, and then look how awesome this is. He has speed test screenshots for each of the cafes he listed, and I went, okay, now that looks reasonable now. Now I've got my target for where I'm going to go working tomorrow. And I scrolled down the rest of his list. He had, the pros and cons of different places he'd worked, and also a speed test for everyone. Incredibly useful, helpful blog post. So not only in terms of looking at this from a an online working perspective and accessing your resources, but also content creation, like making, this person who I don't even know just solved my problem immediately. Here I was thinking, oh no, I've booked an Airbnb with not good enough internet, but immediately I knew exactly where to get an Uber to the next day to work. So I looked at the options, but he definitely says in the writing, once you read through it, that VCR is his top recommendation. So I hopped in an Uber, went straight there the next day, and it was fantastic. Had a super productive day, went there a couple of days. So I just kind of wanted to share that. You can do that for pretty much anywhere, even your local city or town where you're living right now. So the search was Kuala Lumpur Digital Nomad Cafe. Now, one of the other results, I didn't click through to it before I started working there, but there's this other result down here, workfrom.co, best places to work, meet, study in Kuala Lumpur. And I'll just show you what that one looks like. So I haven't actually, scanned through this resource yet, but it's another great one to check out, workfrom.co. And here we have the search on Kuala Lumpur. Discover and share the best coffee shops, cafes, bars, co-working and alternative spaces to get work done in the Kuala Lumpur area. Connect with other location independent professionals. And you can search, with things like faster Wi-Fi, quieter, has power, etc. So if we'll click to turn that notification off. You'll see here, that's the VCR cafe that Chris had recommended. He'd also mentioned this Fika coffee roasters, and then I can look through and scan through these other locations that'd be great places to work as well. Now, quickly before we head off that one, I'll just show you, this is Chris's homepage of his website. If you're traveling through Asia at all, or you've got plans to, or even if you're just, new to getting skilled up for online work, even though Chris is a web developer, even if you're not intending to specifically learn or use web development skills to get your online career started, I still think it's super cool to see how other people with other skill sets are doing it. So definitely check out his stories. Down at the bottom of the page, you'll see he's got his social media links. I definitely know he's got great stuff on Instagram and YouTube. Now, the next one I wanted to show you, here's another thing that I looked up kind of at that same time when I was figuring out where I was going to work for the week. And I Googled co-working spaces in Kuala Lumpur, and I landed on this site, which is brand new to me. I only found out about this week, coworker.com. If you're already a digital nomad, have you heard of that one? Let me know in the comments. The reason I wanted to point this one out is because I found out about this co-working space called Paper and Toast in Kuala Lumpur, and then I saw this button over here that said free day pass, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like because I've used this type of thing before when we've been traveling for gym passes, right? It's something we're more familiar with, is that you can go and usually to a gym's website, and you can get like a free 3-day pass, or sometimes even a free 7-day pass. It's their lead generation, right? That's their opt-in or their lead magnet. And I never realized that the same would be the case for co-working spaces. So how cool is that? Not necessarily, even if you're not intending to kind of get a monthly membership for a co-working space, whether that's in your home city or traveling, but just to kind of change up your environment, network, meet new people, get inspired. Check out this website, coworker.com. I know that it covers multiple countries, but I'm not sure which. But I'm sure there's other sites out there like this one as well. And when I registered for the free day pass, I got a confirmation from both coworker.com, and I also got a confirmation directly from the Paper and Toast team saying, they're welcoming me in the next day, etc. Now, long story short, I didn't end up redeeming that pass. Our family schedule changed. The kids and Dan were going to go to a particular shopping mall, cinemas to watch the movies. I kind of wanted to have lunch with them, so I went to a different area of Kuala Lumpur. And what I did there was I simply typed in, so that's one thing to check out before I change the link. So I'll change over to here. I typed in, I was in the Mid-Valley Mega Mall in Kuala Lumpur, specifics if you're actually visiting this city. And I just used the Google Maps app on my phone and typed in co-working space, or just co-working. And immediately I could see which spaces were closest to the location I was at. This is just in the Google Maps app on my phone. And there was one that said it was 800 meters away. So it was this one here, uppercase, and that's where I ended up going instead of Paper and Toast. And I went straight there, and so I paid for the day. It was something, I think the price was 50 ringgit, 50 Malaysian ringgit, which is roughly about $12, I believe, depending on when you're doing the currency conversion. And so this was cool. This was cool to be able to work there. I wouldn't necessarily rave about it and say, okay, you absolutely have to go there. It didn't have the same type of vibe that I've had in co-working spaces that I felt really inspired by. But it was still super cool to get productive there, you know, good internet, good aircon, plenty of space, plenty of light, that kind of thing. But I just thought that was cool where you can kind of go, okay, even if I haven't researched something in advance, I can get around with Google Maps. Again, you don't have to be traveling to make use of those type of resources. You can do that in your home city. I was using Google Maps for the same purpose when I was in my home city in Australia. I hadn't been there for quite a number of years, but it's, you know, you can use it in your home city to get to know this whole new world of location independent working. Now, so that's the two things. The first thing is, you know, finding those cafes, the co-working spaces, and in particular, getting free passes to try things out. And the third thing that I just wanted to share that was pretty exciting, it's a little bit different. As I said, we've been to Kuala Lumpur now multiple times, but it hadn't occurred to me until this trip just now. I think probably because we're intending to stay a little bit longer this time, that here in Kuala Lumpur is where the head office of a company called Mindvalley is. The company's run by this amazing guy, Vishen Lakiani. Hopefully I've pronounced his surname correctly. But what this did is it reminded me of the very first month that I started reaching out and applying for jobs in customer service and as a virtual assistant in 2011. And in that process, I found out about Mindvalley, and I looked at the fact that they had this office in Kuala Lumpur, and I looked at the fact that they were, you know, looking for people to do customer service and email marketing and digital marketing, all these things that I was hearing about for the kind of first time, you know, in those terms, you know, in all these role and job titles for the things that we do, supporting businesses to operate and market online. And I remember thinking, oh wow, maybe I could do that. But of course we'd just flown from Australia to Costa Rica. We had two little, you know, tiny toddlers, 1 and 2, and it wasn't feasible to kind of move cities again to Kuala Lumpur. But it was just kind of a funny little daydream about, you know, imagine working for a company like this and learning these skills with people that are supporting clients on such a high level and such a large scale. And so it jogged my memory about that thought, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here in that city that seemed like such a far off, like daydream when I was, you know, in Costa Rica just getting this online career started. And it occurred to me, oh my gosh, now I feel like I would have the confidence to reach out to Mindvalley and apply for these roles. I think about it like from the perspective of my kids or other young people I know as well, where it's like, it's not necessarily that we have to go, oh no, I have to be running my own show, I have to freelance, you know, but it's more about like creating that life on our own terms, etc., and skilling up and having options and flexibility. So let's take a look at some of the roles that Mindvalley have advertised recently. So careers available at Mindvalley, you can see here the photo of their offices here in Kuala Lumpur. And down here, when you scroll down the position titles, you'll see that, you know, there's things like digital marketing specialist, HubSpot, email marketing and communication specialist. So these are all based in their Kuala Lumpur head office. So it's not a remote team. Online marketing specialist. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't see that one before. At home customer experience representative in Costa Rica. After this video, I'm going to have to check that out. That it sounds like that is a remote role. So I'm interested to see if that's relevant for anyone I know. Customer support specialist, Kuala Lumpur. So these were the ones that I actually had my eye on when I was starting out as a brand new virtual assistant in 2011, like I shared with you before. I was looking at going, oh, how would you work at Mindvalley when you don't have experience in things like HubSpot or email marketing yet, right? My go-to is always, do they have a customer support role open? Where my communication, my written communication, my care, my enthusiasm, my resourcefulness, my research skills are going to be what gets me across the line. Not so much my experience in particular software systems. I recommend that to people all the time with regard to virtual assistants and freelancing roles as well. It's definitely a big part of how I got my foot in the door without experience as well, is starting out with a lot of work, a lot of my hours being customer support based. And in that process, getting behind the scenes look into a company so that I can back other team members up, back other experienced team members up, and develop my skills and step into other opportunities as they became available. So scrolling through that, basically, it kind of reminded me about, like I was saying, this focus on this set of skills just being so powerful right now in this economic and cultural shift that we're going through. And, if a young person has an opportunity, or, any age, basically, if you're in the situation where that would work for you, and you're able to skill up in that way and support such, influential clients, and have the opportunity to, have team meetings where Vishen Lakiani is kind of leading them, that would be a super cool life experience. And it also reminded me that, I want to bring attention as well to not just the things where my focus is and the type of work I do and the way that I train people, which is in supporting clients on pretty much on a freelance basis, right? Either as a supporting team member, or where you're running your own show and you're bringing clients into your business. But in both cases, you're self-employed, and you're working with clients on, mutually agreed arrangements. You're not working as an employee. But I like to still bring attention to this other way of working, which is not something that I've done personally, but I still think it's super cool, and an amazing opportunity, which is to work remotely. So these positions aren't remote, as I said, but they're similar in, work culture and style to a lot of other remote teams. And when you think of remote teams, you think of like companies like Buffer, ConvertKit have a remote team. On this website that I'm on the screen here, remote.com, this is where you're going to find a lot of these remote employee type roles. So it's different to what I'm normally sharing about: virtual assistants, freelancing, online marketing implementers, online marketing support people. It's different in that you're actually being hired by the company, and with that comes, the pros and cons of that. Okay, so there's a little bit more restriction in terms of your schedule usually, and the requirements of when certain things are done. But you've also got the advantage of being an employee, which is you usually get, paid time off. Sometimes they fly people in for team meetings, healthcare, those types of things. So sometimes it might be those extra benefits that you're after, but some people, whatever background you've come from with your past work life history, whether you've come from a corporate background and you really like that corporate vibe, but you'd like it more with a schedule and location flexibility, then remote employee work could be something that you're interested in. And also I think it depends a lot on your family and lifestyle situation as well. So it wouldn't work for me to need to be at the computer at set times of the day. I like to, if we're traveling or if we're doing something with the kids, then I make up the work at night. But for a lot of people it does. And so remote.com, it has both. It has both freelancing work and remote work. So you might have heard me share in the past, the terms are kind of used interchangeably. So if you see the word remote on a job site or in a job title, doesn't necessarily specifically mean that it's a remote employee role, but it could mean that type of work is available there. I'm probably making that a bit confusing, but just to say that the terminology is interchangeable. But yes, on this remote.com website, you will find remote employee roles. So that's one to check out. Now let me see, there was another one I wanted to show you. So remote.co is another one to check out, with roles that are like that. And another one as well for women specifically is called powertofly.com, where again it's companies that are hiring on the ground roles, but also remote team roles. Now what you're going to find with these roles a lot of the time is that yes, experience is often required. And I find that one thing that's really cool to be aware of is that proactively developing your own skills in online software systems, in digital marketing support, in, you know, gradually getting that experience in the back end of clients' businesses to start to understand strategy or cause and effect in digital marketing, that can skill you up to be able to move into setting up your own business or working remotely. And that's why I was sharing initially that Mind Valley role. Hang on, where was it? I think it was this one actually. I didn't jump onto the screen. The email marketing and communication specialist. 6 years ago when I looked at that, I'd be like, oh my gosh, how would I ever do something like that? And now I look at it and go, that's super cool. I could apply for that if I wanted to. And that's a really cool feeling. Like, even though I'm not going to go ahead and do that, it's super cool knowing that the work you do on your own terms can skill you up for these remote roles. And there's just going to be more and more of this as this, this revolution continues to unfold. I always feel funny when I use that word revolution, but it really is what's happening. Just watched a video of Gary Vaynerchuk talking about that even more last night. Okay, before I get off track anymore, quickly I'll just show you. So it's interesting what the Mind Valley team said for their applications. It's a resume and video cover letter. Record yourself speaking in a 3-minute video, upload it to YouTube, highlight your passions, your skills, and your motivations for applying. And I think that's cool because it shows you the direction people are heading. They want to see people's personality. You know, this is how this online world of work works, not just in, you know, corporate positions like this, but in freelancing and virtual assistants as well. How can you connect with people through the written word, through video, you know, through putting yourself out there online. Cool, guys. So I'll finish the video there. If you're visiting Kuala Lumpur, check out those resources, or if you're just getting your online career off the ground, I hope some of this gets the cogs turning as to the possibilities for bringing in variety and excitement and change into your day and accessing all these things that people are sharing online. All right, talk soon.